So welcome back. So I wanted to do something real cool today because I feel like I've been watching a lot of TV, like everybody, but I really just wanted to document what are the TV shows that were standing out for me during quarantine. And I feel like since I've watched so much TV, I feel like now I'm judging TV shows a little bit more critically, like not just being a consumer of like whether I like it or not, but like actually looking at all the different details about the shows. So I compiled a list of a few TV shows. I did three sections. So I did anime, I did international, and then I did American TV. And also I kind of wanted to try something different and try to use some more editing software. So I think I'm gonna try to put the ratings that I give it, and then also put a screenshot of the actual show and the name. So that's just my little test for myself to see if I can actually make that work. Oh, also something new. So I tried different braiding pattern. So I got knotless braids done, and I don't know how I feel about them, but they're different. I mean, I'm glad I did something new because I feel like I literally never try anything new with my hair, and this is really not that different. But I don't know. I thought it was cute, so I did it. Okay, so let's not prolong what we came here to do. I'm gonna go ahead and go with the list that I made. So, like I said, I'm gonna do anime first. So the first, and like I'll give like a little snippet about like the show and things like that. Okay, so the first anime I watched, or not that I watched, but the first anime, I like I said, I've been watching a lot of stuff, but this was just standout stuff that I was like, okay, this is actually really good. So the first thing is Seven Deadly Sins. So basically, Seven Deadly Sins is this adventure show. It's literally basically the title. It's about these like soldiers, warriors type things who are also the seven deadly sins, and it's basically about their journey to save Britannia from the demon race. It is a stellar show. I mean, the adventure, the storyline, like, and the thing about that show that I really like is how each character gets their own like plot, and like the character arcs are really good. Just like really the way that the writers really intertwine each of the characters' stories and like how that actually influences the plot is just really good. So I gave Seven Deadly Sins a 10 out of 10. I know that's a little high, but I literally have not yet found something about the show that I didn't like. And it's funny, it's snarky, very just it's just good. Like it's I feel like it's everything that you really want, and for somebody who's like really just now getting back into anime, I thought it was really great. So Seven Deadly Sins, 10 out of 10 on Netflix. The next one, I kind of watched this earlier in quarantine, maybe like March, April, is Castlevania. And basically, Castlevania is about vampires. It's about the like Count Dracula and his son, and it's about vampires, basically. But I gave that a 10 out of 10. I mean, it is just it's just this. I feel like I gave that a 10 out of 10 because of the storyline. Like it's very good. It's also very raunchy, which is odd for an anime, but it works. Like it's not odd for an anime because I feel like a lot of animes are raunchy, but it's actually really really good. So I gave that a 10 out of 10. That's on Netflix. Really nothing bad to say about that show. I mean, it definitely keeps you on edge the entire time. And I think another thing about that show that I like is that the characters are very complex. Like the characters have so many layers and so many like backstories for why they do what they do. I think that is what makes that show really really good. So yes, the next anime I have that I feel like would stand out for me was Kill la Kill. So I'm not gonna lie, I gave Kill la Kill a 9 out of 10 because at first I was like I was like, I'm confused. Not that I was confused, but I was just like, is this show about clothes? So basically, this show is about how the Kamawis, I think, or like she had a set of clothes called the Senkets. Basically, it's about how clothes give you these like superpowers or whatever, and basically it's about the power dynamics between all these different forces, and like teenagers are like taking it's a really good storyline, and like it has a super cool twist at the end that I definitely was not expecting. So I feel like that's why that one stuck out so much for me, because at first it was like, it was one of those shows where it's like, at the beginning I didn't even know if I wanted to finish it, but it was so strange that I felt so like intrigued, because I was like, I need to keep watching this to make it make sense. And by the time you get invested in it, it's like, oh wait. And then the best friend, what's her name? The best friend to the main character is so funny. She is the cutest thing ever, and I feel like she was also a really big reason why I kept watching the show. So yeah, Kill la Kill on Netflix, 9 out of 10 for sure. The next one and last anime I have is Devilman's Crybaby, and honestly, I had to give that an 8 out of 10. It started off really, really good. 8 out of 10 is still not bad. It started off really, really good. I mean, very shock factor. I mean, the shock factor of that show at the beginning was just like, I cannot close my eyes. But as it got going, like, it just became so, like, the crybaby part just became overwhelming for me. It was just like, and then the twist at the end was, it's not even a twist, but like the change of the crybaby at the end was just like, it was disappointing. So I had to knock that down to an 8, but still very good. I mean, I think that one really stood out for me, one, because of the shock factor, but also just the colors and just the way that show is animated is so captivating. It is literally like, I cannot close my eyes. What is happening? And basically, Devilman's Crybaby is about, literally, it's in the title, it's about this devil man who was like half man, half devil, and his interactions trying to save the world, I guess. But very good. 8 out of 10. So that's all the anime. Again, these are stuff that I feel like was highlights for me, not everything that I've watched. And a lot of other stuff anime I had watched, it was people already know about it, like, so I was like, I'm not even gonna put it in here. But yeah, really cool. So now to international shows. So literally over quarantine, I feel I have really got into international shows, because I had a coworker / friend or whatever who was trying to put me onto a lot of Korean shows, but I was like, girl, if I gotta read, I'm not doing it. Like, I gotta read all day at work. I'm not trying to go home and read too. So glad I got over that, because subtitles are your friends. It's really not that deep once you get into it, and it's really fun. So these are just international shows that have been spicy. I mean, so good. So the first one I have is Locked Up, which I think on Netflix you can put Locked Up in, or you can, the Spanish name for it is like Vas a Vas, or something like that. But the American title is Locked Up. So it's a Spanish show basically about these women in prison, and the best like parallel, but not really a parallel, I can get is Orange is the New Black. But it's not funny. Like, Locked Up is a serious, this is real prison. Like, Orange is the New Black was a joke compared to this show. Like, Locked Up will have you on the edge of your seat the entire time. I have never even watched the show that every episode I'm like like, it is intense the entire time. So I mean, and the only thing about Spanish shows I will say, because I feel like Spanish is just a fast language, so I will say that sometimes I did have to like pause and be like, wait, what did they say? But because it's a very dense, like, it's a lot of dialogue, so there's really always something going on, so it's like you gotta keep up. The main characters are just, so good. Like, you love to hate them, but it's also like you want them to be bad, you know? They're just good at it. So it's really good. They just came out with a new season with the main 2 characters, which I don't know if I'm gonna like, because I don't know if it's really living up to like the extent of Locked Up, because like they have Locked Up the Oasis, which is like the 4th season, which just really goes into just the main two characters and like having their own adventure. And I don't know if I like it. I don't know if I like it, but because I'm just gonna stick with Locked Up, not The Oasis, definitely got to give that a 10 out of 10. Oh, must watch. It is literally so good, but it's so tragic that sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I want to watch this again. Like, it was just that I felt that invested that I was like, this is really horrible what's happening to people. But anyways, very good show. The next show was Peaky Blinders. I say international in this section because it's not really, I mean, it's foreign, but it's not in a different language. Basically, this is taking place in England, and it's just basically about this, like, what are they? I don't know if they're Scottish. I have no idea what they are, but basically about this England gang of brothers. And when I say gang, like, they are crazy. And that show is just really good. It's long though. I will say that's the thing about Locked Up and Peaky Blinders. Like, their show, like, the episodes are very long. Like, I don't see how you would, well, people binge all the time, but if it's very hard for me to binge shows, just like watch a show all day. But these episodes are like super long and dense. This is another show where it's like the dialogue is dense. It's just, but really great storyline, like a really, really good storyline. No episode is boring. I don't feel like there's any filler episodes. Very, very, just very, very good. So love it. Peaky Blinders, I gave that a 10 out of 10 as well. Really looking forward to the next season. Okay, the other show I got was 3%. 3% is a Brazilian show, so they speak in Portuguese. 3% was really good. I gave it an 8 out of 10. I gave it an 8 out of 10 really just for the last season. So they had the series finale that just came out, and it just wasn't great. Like, the last season just, it wasn't good, and I had to knock it down. But the first 2 seasons of this show were phenomenal. I really loved them. I love the whole concept. Basically, 3% gave me Brave New World vibes, like, as far as it being about like this utopian type society where you basically have to prove your worth to have any type of meaningful life, like any type of, basically you have to prove yourself worthy to have a good life. And just that whole concept of the haves and the have-nots is really crazy. I mean, it goes into a lot of social commentary about poverty and wealth and people's mindsets about both of those things. It's just really good, and like even having to go through the whole idea of like people having to test their worthiness is really interesting. Just great show, a lot of twists, a lot of turns. So yeah, I definitely give it an 8 out of 10. Really would recommend that one. But I only gave it an 8 out of 10 just because of the last season. It just wasn't good. I don't know, something about the curse of like series finales, the last season of a show, they just don't hit. But anyways, really good. The last internationalized show I had that actually stood out for me was Blood and Water, which is a South African show, basically about this girl finding her long lost sister that got kidnapped at birth or whatever. Actually very good. Like, it's a teenage show, and it felt real. Like, I feel like a lot of shows that are based off teenagers are just so insufferable. They're just like, I'm dragging through this because the characters are just so just bleh. But this one was actually really good. I mean, the characters felt like actual people with real, like, thoughts, feelings. It just really moved very well. The plot was really cool. Just overall a good watch. It's an easy watch. It's not that long. But I felt like you could check it out. I mean, I think honestly with this show, I actually like some of the what are the actors called that are not main characters? Like, supporting actors and actresses. I actually really like them. I feel like they kind of move the show along for me the most. The supporting actresses and actors. But either way, really good show. 8 out of 10 would recommend. All right, and our last section is American shows, and this is actually really funny because this show literally just came out. Like, the 3rd episode is coming out today. But Lovecraft Country is amazing. It is so good. Basically, Lovecraft Country is a mashup between horror and like American history, and it's like a cast of black people. And I mean, when I tell you, it is so good. I am really not the type of person who watches something twice. I really do not watch shows twice. I don't watch movie twice. It's like once I've seen it, I've seen it. But this one, I literally ran back both episodes, and I am so excited for the 3rd episode. I am excited about this show. I mean, adventure, color. I mean, it is. And to see black people in horror is just, it does something for me. It is so good. Like, I had to give that a 10 out of 10. It's really good. I mean, it's also very dense in the sense that there's a lot of book references. So it's kind of, sometimes if you don't know a lot about like literature, some of the references can kind of go over your head. Like, even for me, sometimes I had to like go and like research certain things that they were talking about. But even that was really exciting to be like, wait, let me make sure that I'm catching up. So I even being able to have to go do your own research to really like understand what's happening in the show. So good. 10 out of 10 for me. The next one I have for American show is P-Valley. That also just came out. P-Valley is basically a show about strippers in a strip club and all their troubles and issues and everything like that. But the thing about P-Valley is I've really never, it's such a simple concept, but something about really understanding the lives of a stripper is just fascinating. I don't know what it is. And the reason I gave it an 8 out of 10 is because the dialogue in this show, from my research, I found out that it was for theater, I think, first, and they made it into a show. And sometimes the dialogue is so weird. Like, the way they talk in the show, or like the verbiage they use, and like the way they say things is just very odd, but still a great show. Uncle Clifford, girl, he moves the show along. That man carries. He is carrying this show. I mean, not that he's the only person, but he really makes you want to come back. Also, the soundtrack of the show is actually kind of funny. It's actually very good. Like, I have very much so downloaded a few of the songs from this show. Really like it. Oh, that's another thing about Lovecraft Country that's about the references. Like, sometimes they have like songs or just like audio clips of different things throughout history that are just, it's a really fascinating show. So love that. The next one for American shows is Outer Banks. Outer Banks was actually way better than I thought it was going to be. I literally watched Outer Banks because I was like, bruh, it's on the little most watched thing on Netflix, and I was like, okay, whatever. And I went to college in North Carolina, and I was like, okay, whatever, it's in North Carolina, let me see what's going on. Taken aback. Great show. Basically, it's giving me very Goonie vibes, but basically it's about these kids going on this search for a hidden treasure, and this teenager trying to like find his dad or whatever, what happened to his dad, and his friends kind of come along with him on this journey. But I mean, that show was really good. I mean, I think that the thing that really got me with that show was the adventure part of it. Just the fact that it's these teenagers that are just basically just free to do whatever. Like, just that feeling of nobody's really looking out for these kids, and they're just out doing things. It's just really cool to me. Also, I just love the whole idea about friendship in this show, like your friends really being down for you and really supporting you in your shenanigans. I don't know, it was really refreshing. It was really cool to see that. So Outer Banks I definitely enjoyed. And the last one for American shows I got that was a standout for me was I Am Not Okay With This. I Am Not Okay With This was basically about this little white teenage girl who is developing superpowers but doesn't know it and doesn't know why, and some shenanigans ensues. I don't know why that movie was so why that show was so captivating, but it really was. I literally cannot tell you why, but it was an easy show. It was like seven episodes, so maybe that's why it was like so easy to consume. So, but I actually really liked it. Actually, I'm really excited for the next season. The season, the season finale, or the last episode of the show of the season, really got me. I don't know. It really got me, and I think that's why I was like, what? And it just stuck for me. So yeah, that's basically everything that's really been standing out for me for quarantine. And yeah, catch you on the flip side, girl. I think I want to do a music playlist next. Like, I think that'd be really cool to do some of the music that I've really been exposed to over quarantine. And yeah, so basically the question is, what have you been watching during quarantine? See you later.